I think it looks good. Hi, welcome. Hey, everyone. Welcome, everybody on the stream. If you watch this after the fact on demand, welcome anyway. Let's see here. There are already people on the chat. AWS Geeks Tunisia. Greetings to Tunisia. Sean's here again. Good to see you. Milad. Hey, Milad. Good to see you again. I've seen you on LinkedIn a lot last week, which is really nice. So welcome, everybody. My name is Dennis. I'm a developer advocate with Amazon Web Services, and today we're going to talk about a number of certification questions. So if you're studying for the AWS Solutions Architect Associate certification, or if you just want to learn a little bit about AWS or brush up your skills, you're free to stay. I will go through a number of questions today, like always, but I'll also try to answer your questions if you have any. Let's see, there are a few more people in the chat. Pubudu, hello, nice to see you. Good to see you. Pablo is here. Hi from Argentina. Genlor is here. Hey, Genlor. Jordan Esports is here as well. So we have a few people from Tunisia, from Argentina, from the US, I know, from Germany. Who's everybody from? Everybody else? Where are you from? Locust Coding. Hello, nice to see you on the chat. Who is everybody from? Let me know in the chat. And while you do that, I will start this little ticker down here, just with some information for everybody who joins late. And also, as always, I'm going to start the giveaway. Genlo is from the Philippines. Nice. So what time is it in the Philippines? Like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, something like that? What time is it over there? Then we have somebody. Oh, Linda, nice to see you. Linda from Vienna. We've got Milad from Germany, out of Passau in Lower Bavaria, which is nice. Sean is from Arizona in the United States. And we have got Pubud from Amsterdam in the Netherlands, which is not far from here. I'm in Hamburg in Germany. Yeah, again, it's 9 p.m. in Indonesia right now. That is pretty late. So thanks for joining us. That is really great. So let me see. I will start the giveaway. I'll click on start the giveaway so that everybody should, when the chatbot's there, it's coming. Scotland, Bruce, nice to see you. Hey, Scotland. You know, when it comes to Scottish, I love the dialect. I really love it. It's hard for me to understand sometimes, but I really love listening to it. As you can see, a raffle has started. So if you want to enter the raffle, I'm raffling $25 in AWS credits again today. So please just type !raffle. No space in between, no nothing, just !raffle. And you're in to win AWS credits worth $25. Raja, good to see you. Hey, nice to see you again. And it's 3 p.m. in Tunisia. Yeah, it's the same time as here, so there's no time difference to Germany from Tunisia. Cool. So let's get to it, right? Okay. Let me see. I'll pull this over here so I can monitor the chat, but I've got my slide deck over here. Let me see. Here we go. All right. Hey, I'm Dennis, but you know that already. Thanks for joining. Today, I'm going through a number of questions that I put out in the last couple of weeks, certification questions that I put up as shorts on YouTube. One thing that I need to mention, first of all, I will be on vacation for a few weeks, starting the week after next. So there will be no videos and there will be no live streams. I really need a rest, but I will be back, promise. Second, some of you may have noticed there were no more certification shorts. The ones I put up on YouTube. I put out a total of 50, and I decided to stop with that format for now. But I will come up with different things because many of you have asked me to have more scenario-based questions, because many of the questions that I used on those shorts, they were really short questions with short answers, and they were mostly like, which service can you use for that, and so forth. And that's pretty simple. But when you study for the AWS certification exam, you will have to study with scenario-based questions as well, where you have a situation, this is the requirement, and your customer wants to save money, but he also wants a non-disruptive migration or anything like that. And then you have a number of options that you could choose from. And one of them, maybe even multiple of them, could be correct, but one of them would be the best. And many of you really have asked me to go more into scenario-based questions from real life. So that's what I'm planning to do in the future. I will not be able to use the shorts format for that because that just doesn't work. Bruce, yeah, exactly. Thank you so much. So I'm on the right track, I hope. It will be a different format. I will probably set something up like a study group on YouTube, streaming live, or something like that, where we discuss a number of questions, where we may discuss other things, where I maybe show you things in the AWS console. So that would be more hands-on. But that will happen after I was on vacation. I'm going to take a few weeks off. But after that, stay tuned, subscribe to the channel to get notified once I have the new series. And as I said, it will be more like a study group where we will really get into the details of AWS, not just for the certification, but really if you want to work in the cloud, or if you even already do the things that are important to know and the things that are important to consider. So having that said, let's get into the first question. First one, and this is for you, chat. You can always please post in the chat your answers, what you think is correct. Don't worry, don't be ashamed if something's wrong. It's not an issue. If you get something wrong and then we go over it, what would be correct? That is something that is learning something new. So I really like getting things wrong every now and then, because that means I learned something new, and that brings me closer to where I'm trying to get. So if you get something wrong here and then we go over it, you are one step closer to your certification, which is essentially a nice thing. So, okay, I'm already getting the first answers. Which service? I'm just going to read it to you real quick. Which service is best suited for monitoring the performance of your compute instances? We've got A, Amazon CloudWatch, B, AWS CloudTrail, C, AWS OpsWorks, and D, AWS Config. And pretty much everybody says A, and that is correct. And AWS Geeks Tunisia actually says why that is. Performance equals metrics, and you can collect, aggregate, and display metrics using Amazon CloudWatch. Maybe as a bonus question for you, if you are collecting performance metrics from your EC2 instance, which metrics can you get out of the box, and which metrics can you not get out of a box? And I'll put a few things in the chat: CPU, RAM, disk usage, network in, out. Let me see, out. Here we go. So I'll put that in the chat, and I'll put it up here. So which of those, CPU, RAM, disk usage, and network in, out, which of those don't you get out of the box? What do you think, chat? Which of those can you get natively, and for which do you need additional tools to get that information? Any ideas? No ideas? Oh, yeah, we got one. And you are right, Genlar. Very good. It's RAM. And it's RAM. We've got another answer, but actually, so network in, out, CPU native, network in, out. Yes. All right. Okay. So we've got different answers, which doesn't matter at all. The one that's correct is you cannot natively, you cannot read RAM usage, memory usage. You can do that with a tool, and there are tools. And I think we also already have something somewhere, an open source tool that you can just deploy into your instance to read memory usage. But you can't read it with native tools because the memory usage is not a piece of information that EC2 provides to the management service. You get network in out, you get disk usage, you get CPU. But if you want to get RAM usage, if you want to get memory usage, you need to deploy an additional agent that provides the management service with that data. Okay, cool. Cannot is RAM. Exactly. Cannot is RAM. Good. So we have a few more on here. AWS CloudTrail. CloudTrail is a service that basically monitors all API calls, and everything you do with AWS, mostly everything goes through the API, except when you, for instance, if you SSH into your EC2 instance, that doesn't go through the API. But all the other things, everything you do, basically, for instance, through the management console or through the CLI or through the SDK, goes through the AWS API. And CloudTrail monitors that and writes that to a log. So with CloudTrail, you're able to see after the fact who did what, when. And this is a very important service to use just to make sure that you understand what's happening inside of your account, especially when something happened that you're not entirely sure why that happened or who did it. You can use CloudTrail to look into that data. It's basically an audit log. And then we have AWS OpsWorks. And if you ever decide to do the DevOps Engineer Professional exam, you will have to learn a ton about OpsWorks. I did, and I forgot everything because I'm not working with it. I never had a chance to really work with it, so I forgot everything, even though I studied a lot for the exam. So OpsWorks really is for configuration management, application deployment, and so forth. And then we have, Puppet or Chef. Milad got it here. OpsWorks for Puppet or OpsWorks for Chef, where you basically do the infrastructure deployment, management, and so forth. And then we have AWS Config. And AWS Config is a service that basically monitors your resources, similar to CloudTrail. But what it does is it monitors the change of state over time. So, for instance, if there is a firewall, you have a security group, and the security group opens the web port, the HTTP ports, like port 80 and port 443. And at some point in time, somebody opens up SSH as well, and then they close it again. In config, you can see the actual change on a timeline, what happened and who did it. So config is really important for auditing as well. And also with config, you can add config rules basically for compliance monitoring. So if you never want the SSH port anywhere to be open to the internet, you can create a config rule that whenever somebody opens the SSH port on a security group to the internet, then you get a rule violation in config and can respond to that either manually or automatically. Cool. So that's that. The correct one, as you all got, is Amazon CloudWatch. Good. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Second, you want to create a public subnet in a custom VPC. Which of the following do you not need to accomplish this? And here, again, it's important to read the question. And there's this word not in the question. That is really important. So please, if you do the exam, always read the question twice to make sure you understand what it is. So you want to create a public subnet in a custom VPC. Which of the following do you not need to accomplish this? So A, an internet gateway, B, a public IP address, C, a routing table with a route to an internet gateway, and D, you need all of the above. What do you think? So AWS Geeks Tunisia says D. Sean says B, a public IP address. Genlo also says you need all of the above. Let's see. Chad, do you have any more opinions? Saif says, hey, Saif, good to see you. Nice to see you here. So we have a couple of voices here. Some saying D, some saying B. The Streamlabs bot saying a raffle is going on. By the way, the raffle, it only works on YouTube. So if you are on Twitch or you are on LinkedIn, please go to. I'll put it here. I'll put it in the chat. Please open this address, because the chatbot that I'm using for the raffle only monitors YouTube. So if you want to join the raffle, if you want to have a chance to win AWS credits at the end of the show, please come to YouTube. Please join us on YouTube. And as always, if you like the video, please like the video. It's always good to have some interaction and some likes because that helps the channel. Anyway, so we've got a couple of answers. We've got a couple of people saying B and a few people saying D. So what is correct here? The correct answer is B, a public IP address. And now I'll tell you why. The question, or let's read the question again. You want to create a public subnet in a custom VPC. Which of the following do you not need to accomplish this? So what does the first one says? You want to create a public subnet. You don't need an IP address to create a subnet. You only need an IP address if you want to have an instance, a server, a machine that actually connects to the internet. Then you need a public IP address. But if you only want to create a subnet, you don't need an IP address. You do need an internet gateway because otherwise there is no connection to the internet. And the second thing you need is a routing table with a route to the internet gateway. And one thing here is important. If it wasn't a custom VPC, if it was the default VPC, you would already have a routing table with a route to an internet gateway, and you would already have an internet gateway because it provides both. If you create a custom VPC in addition to the default VPC, or as a substitute to the default VPC, there is no internet gateway and there is no route table with a route to the internet gateway because there is no internet gateway. So you have to set up both if you create a custom VPC. You don't need a public IP address. Let's see what we have in the chat. So Hemanand says a public subnet needs either a network interface or an instance to be attached to. Oh, the public IP needs either a network interface or an instance to be attached to, not a subnet. And that's exactly right. And the instance uses a network interface. So it is always attached to what we call elastic network interface, an ENI, elastic network interface, that may have a public IP address. And now I'm going into a little bit of detail. Maybe that's of interest for you. It's not important for the exam, but it may be interesting for you. A network interface inside of a subnet in AWS never gets a public IP address. If you log into your instance via SSH or via the session manager, the systems manager session manager, and you look for the IP address, you type ipconfig to find your IP address. It will always only show you your private IP address because the network interface does not know about the public IP address. The public IP address is attached to the internet gateway. So the internet gateway has a table of public IP addresses to private IP addresses. And that's important to know if you actually do networking work on AWS. I don't know if it's that important for the certification, but it's certainly interesting to know. So the instance itself never has a public IP address. It always only has a private IP address. The public IP address, no matter if it's an elastic IP or one that's automatically assigned, is always managed in the internet gateway. Yeah, that's some theory. Some theory behind that. All right, cool. I hope that was something that you didn't know yet. Otherwise, I just rambled a bit. Okay, next question. Which of the following sets of services are used in a typical AWS container stack? A, ECR, ECS, and EC2. B, ECS, EMR, and EC2. C, Fargate, ECS, and S3. Or D, ECR, ECS, and S3. What do you think, chat? What is it? A, B, C, or D? And that is a lot of acronyms. Bonus points for the person who knows what all of those mean. So Milad says A, Genlo says A, Hemanan says A, Sean says A, Mario. Hey Mario, nice to see you. Good to have you on the show. Thanks for joining. I hope it works on LinkedIn. I've just been trying this for a few weeks, streaming to LinkedIn as well. Mario, if you want to join the raffle, I'm raffling $25 in AWS credits today, but the raffle only works on YouTube. So if you want to join the raffle, I'll put the link in the chat. Please go to this address. Oh, and it doesn't even post the address on LinkedIn, which is a shame. Huh. I'll leave it here for now. I think I can't post. No, I can't post comments to LinkedIn, which is a shame. Anyway, I'll leave it here. You may want to type it. I'm sorry about that. I'll make a bit.ly link real quick. Let me see, bit.ly. I'll make a bit.ly link for the video. Create long URL. Here we go. So let's make it AWS practice stream. Does that work? That works. All right. So here's the link. Here's the link, and I'll put it on here. bit.ly AWS practice stream. This is the address that you can use to join us on YouTube, because there you can then join the raffle. So cool. All right, cool. So thanks, Mario, for joining. I'm happy to see you there. All right, we have a few people typing something. Let me have a look at the chat. EMR. All right, EMR is for Apache and big data, and S3 cannot be used for containers. That's right. EMR stands for Elastic MapReduce, which is basically a managed Hadoop service, simply said on a high level. Then ECR stands for Elastic Container Registry, which is correct. Thanks, Mario. You found it for sharing it back on LinkedIn. That's really nice. Thank you so much. And Elastic Container Service. All right, we've got some. I'm confused. I know Fargate is serverless server that works with AWS containers, and I know that ECR is Container Registry. So yeah, and that's the point. This question is confusing, and that's intentionally, because I want you to think about the different services and what they are. So I'm going to talk about each of them. ECR is the Elastic Container Registry, like Docker Hub, similar to Docker Hub. ECS is the Elastic Container Service, which is our own orchestration and management, container orchestration and management service. EC2 is our Elastic Compute Cloud, Elastic Cloud Compute. I never know which way it is. It is our VMs as a service, our virtual machines as a service. And this also is the correct answer, because these three are typically used in a container stack. But it could also be ECR, ECS, Fargate, because Fargate is another type of deploying your containers. It's a deployment type, a run type, Fargate, just like EC2. With EC2, you manage the hosts, the nodes yourself. With Fargate, we manage it for you. So if there was an ECR, ECS Fargate, that would be the correct answer. Since we don't have that here, this one is the correct answer. Both would be correct, but one of those we just don't have here. The other answers, the other three answers, all are wrong. So ECS, EMR, EC2 doesn't make any sense because EMR is not about containers. Elastic MapReduce is basically, as I said, Hadoop as a service. It's for big data, for MapReduce jobs. Then C, Fargate, ECS, S3, and S3 is the important thing here. S3 has nothing to do with containers. You can use S3, but it's not part of container stack. And the same for D, ECR, ECS, and S3. S3 would be wrong. So out of the four that we have here, A clearly is the only correct answer. But of course, Fargate, and this is a little bit to trip you up, a little bit to think about, Fargate is correct, but Fargate in combination with S3 is not correct. Does that make sense, AWS Geeks? Tunisia, does that make sense for you? I hope it does. Cool. I'll have a look at the time real quick. Okay, we've got some time. And we even have some time to discuss other questions afterwards because I only have 5 questions today. And question number 4. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. So AWS Geeks Tunisia says it does make sense. That is great. Okay, cool. And everybody else, if you have any questions, please let me know. So number 4, when AWS uses the term OLAP or OLAP, what does that acronym stand for? And if you were in the show, the week before last, the last show, we talked about that already. So you hopefully do remember. So does it mean A, online aggregation processing? Does it mean B, offline aggregation processing? Or C, online analytical processing? Or D, offline analytical processing? So let's see. Raja says A. C. Sean says A. And the thing is, when I had that question in my YouTube shorts, and I know that both Raja and Thumbless answered that there correctly, but what I did today is mix up the sequence. So Thumbless and Raja, please have a look at the actual answers again and make sure that you got the right one. Because originally in the other video, you would have been correct, but this time you're not. And this is really important. The answers are in the sequence, the order of the answers can change. So please make sure to have a look again, because the right answer, of course, is online analytical processing and not aggregation processing. So the two of you got it right in the original video. So I just assume that you had that in the back of your head still. So it's online analytical processing. And which type of database on AWS, which database service on AWS is suitable for this type of processing? And somebody already said it in the chat. Anybody else? What do you think? Which database service would be a good one for this type of processing? Redshift. Yes, Redshift. Exactly, Redshift. You got it. You got it first. You got it up. Oh, no, that's the wrong one. You got it up here already. Redshift. And yeah, Sean, that's exactly it. You put the correct thing. You really have to read the question, also the answers, because sometimes what we do not try. So if you take any AWS exam, we don't have any traps. We don't try to lead you into traps. But some questions and answers can be really tricky, and you really need to read the question twice maybe, and the answer is twice, just to make sure you got the correct one. So everybody says Redshift, and that's correct. Redshift, Amazon Redshift is our data warehousing service. So looking at OLAP, what's the other thing? So you have OLAP, and then you have another acronym, which describes basically the opposite. What is that other acronym, and what does that stand for? Do you have an idea, chat? What do you think? What does the other acronym that I don't have on this page right now, what does that stand for? We've got OLAP for online analytical processing. And we've got, and this is correct, we've got OLTP. And we already have the correct answer here. That stands for online transactional processing. And that is the difference, basically, is online transactional processing is when you have lots of reads and writes basically at the same time, when you have transactions, when data is being stored to be read back. And then you have online analytical processing, where really you have all your stored data and you don't really change it while reading it. You do analytics on top of the data. You maybe do some big data analysis. You maybe have some pivot tables on top of the data and all kinds of things. But you don't really change the data as part of that processing. You only analyze the data. And on the other side, in OLTP, you change the data as part of the processing. And that usually is a database system, like RDS is a service. You got it right. RDS, Relational Database Service. That is our service for relational databases, where you can run Oracle or SQL Server or MySQL, MariaDB, and PostgreSQL, for instance, or our very own Aurora. Those would be OLTP. Redshift and other data warehouse systems are OLAP. Okay, RDS is good for OLTP. That's exactly right, Milad. Then we have, mentioning CRUD, and then we have, and the thing is, not only relational databases are OLTP, also DynamoDB is for OLTP, for online transactional processing, or MongoDB, or whatnot. Even the new, I don't know if you got the announcement, the new MemoryDB. We've got an Amazon MemoryDB for Redis, which is a pure in-memory database, which is still highly available and durable, because we create many copies across multiple availability zones. So you have an extremely fast, pure in-memory database that still is durable, as if it would use persistence in the backend. And this is for OLTP. Cool. Great. Thanks for the answers. And now the last one. And this is something that trips me up a lot, because DNS is something that I think is complicated. So number 5, your domain is hosted by Route 53. Route 53 being our DNS service. You want to create a new subdomain and point it to a fleet of EC2 instances behind an ALB. What is the best approach to do this? A, create an A record and configure it as an alias to the ALB. B, create a CNAME record pointing to the URL of the ALB. C, create an A record pointing at the IP address of the ALB. Or D, set the ALB to send a redirect header with the correct IP address. So let's see. We have A. We have lots of A. Milad says C. Raja says A. Bruce says C. That's interesting. Okay. Genlo says A. Okay, cool. Okay. The correct answer is A. And I'm going to explain why. Let's go back. And let me do something else. Let me pull up PowerPoint right here. Just here we go. So because this way we can discuss it and I can mark things while I'm discussing it. So let's see. Let's pick this one first. No, let's pick this one first. Because some people answered C and C is not correct. And I'll explain you why. This is the reason. An ALB, an application load balancer, does not expose an IP address. An application load balancer always only exposes a URL. It does not expose an IP address because, let me see. Let me pull up a browser window real quick. I will show you. I'll log into the console real quick. So let's see. All right, here we go. I hope you can see that. I'll remove my face for a second so that you can see, and I'll also remove the banner for a minute so that you can see. Okay, cool. So VPC. EC2. Let's go to EC2. Let's go down to load balancers. Let me create a load balancer real quick. I'll just pick the application load balancer, test, internet facing, IPv4, availability zones. I'll just pick all. And this is the reason. If I would only choose one availability zone, AWS would deploy one load balancer into this availability zone. But if I deploy it to multiple availability zones for high availability, AWS actually deploys multiple load balancers, at least one, for each availability zone. And not all of them can have the same IP address. So let me configure security settings. I'll just do that, do that, do that, do that. Well, anyway, I don't have to go all the way through to deploy it because you just saw the fact that a load balancer, when deployed highly available, cannot just have one IP address. It needs multiple IP addresses. And because the ALB, the application load balancer, is managed by AWS, even if you deploy it only into one availability zone, it could be that we deploy multiple instances depending on your actual load. So we automatically scale the load balancer for you, but that would mean it could be multiple IP addresses. So it doesn't make any sense to point a record to the IP address. And Milad, no, it does not. It doesn't get an elastic IP address. The load balancer only exposes a DNS name because there is not one IP address. There are multiple IP addresses. And the DNS name, so Route 53, even if you don't explicitly use Route 53, we use it internally. So the service Route 53 then makes sure that it always resolves to one of the actually running load balancer instances. So we take care of that for you. We take care of all the name resolution. Yeah, Metin, that's right. We take care of all the name resolution for you. So you only have a name, a DNS name. You don't have an IP address. This is why C doesn't make any sense because an ALB doesn't expose an IP address. The same here. Set the ALB to send a redirect header with the correct IP address. This whole thing doesn't make any sense in this context at all, but even if it would, you don't have an IP address that you can point to. So it cannot be any of those. Let's remove them. Oh, that's too bright, way too bright. Here we go. So it must be one of these. And both work. Both are viable options. You can create a CNAME record pointing at the URL of the ALB. However, this is the preferred way. Because of the internals of Route 53, and the ALB is using Route 53 anyway, as I said before, internally, it uses Route 53 to resolve the DNS name of the application load balancer. If you just create an A record and configure it as an alias, or alias, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, then it is for Route 53, it is the best coupling between the two. So you just have an alias to the name, to the URL name that's managed by DNS. So it's just a really quick resolution there. So, Hemanand, you said something interesting here. I think you're confused with network load balancer. The network load balancer gets an IP address. And this is correct. The network load balancer is a single instance with an IP address. So we've got another question. What is CNAME record pointing? So there are different types of DNS records. Let me pull that up real quick. DNS records. DNS record types on AWS. So here we go. Let me pull that up. So we've got, I'll make that larger. We've got A record types. We've got AAA record. This is for IPv6. This is for IPv4. Don't get confused by the 4A. This is IPv6. This is IPv4. But a CNAME record type, a CNAME record maps DNS queries for the name of the current record to another domain or subdomain. And this would be exactly what happens, because ALB exposes a domain and your record would have another name mapping that. And this is how this is usually done. And Mario had it correctly. That would make sense if the DNS would not be in Route 53. So if you have your own DNS provider and you want to point the domain to your application load balancer in AWS, you would have to use a CNAME record, because that maps the domain to another domain. An A record points either to an IP address or is basically an alias pointing to another record in Route 53. And this is why you would use, let me go back real quick. This is why you would use an A record type. You use an A record to route traffic to a resource, such as a web server, using an IPv4 address. And this is how A records are used. But what we also provide are aliases. And with aliases, you can use A records to point to a URL inside of AWS. Looking, sorry. I need a drink. Right, and that's a good explanation, Mario. A CNAME record creates a record in the DNS table that allows to point one subdomain to another host, not to an IP address. Great, cool. Thank you so much. All right, so the correct answer here is this one. Create an A record and configure it as an alias to the application load balancer. Good. Okay, these were my questions. I'm done with the questions. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining. At AWS, we're a data-driven company. It is very helpful for me to understand how helpful this is for you. So please do me a favor, use this address, and I'll post it in the chat as well. bit.ly/feedback-dennis. Oh, stop. Oh, again, bit.ly/AWS, no, /feedback-dennis. I can't even type my own name. Here you go. All right. So this is the address, the second one. Please use that to give me feedback. This is really helpful for me to understand, because with everything being virtual, it's really hard to see if I can help you or not. There are a few of you are really active in the chat, which is really great. I appreciate that. But I'm sure there are some of you who still have answers, or may still be confused, and maybe don't have the time or the capability to join the chat, or don't want to ask your questions here in public. Maybe you have private questions that you would like to discuss in private. So for me, it's really important to understand how you like it. So please do me a favor, give me the feedback as always. And as I said before, I'll open the banner again. We do have a raffle. We do have a raffle. So if you type !raffle in the chat, if you're on YouTube, that's important. You need to be on YouTube for that. And I'll post the link again if you're not. Here's the link on YouTube, because the raffle bot only monitors the YouTube chat. So if you want to take part in the raffle, I can see currently there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people who've joined the raffle. If you want to join the raffle, I'll leave it open for a few more minutes, and it's your chance to win $25 in AWS credits, but you have to join YouTube. So thank you so much. And there's another question. Cool, Mario. If I take the professional exam and I had the Solutions Architect Associate version 01, is that one extended, or do I have to take the 02? You don't have to take the associate anymore to do the professional. You don't need to make that was different in the past. I still had to do the associate first to be able to do the professional, but that's not the fact anymore. So you don't need an associate certification to get the professional certification. However, the professional certification is really hard. I studied 3 months for the professional certification, even though I had been working with AWS for many years. I still had to study a lot for the professional certification. For both, I did the Solutions Architect Professional and I did the DevOps Engineer Professional. Both were really hard, but you don't need the Solutions Architect Associate at all to be able to take the exam. Cool. All right. All right, good. So as I said, I'm going to be on vacation for a few weeks. So I'm going to be offline. I will not be putting out videos at the time, and I will not be streaming. Sometime in September, I'm coming back, and I will start with a new series because, and I explained that in the beginning for everybody who joined since then, I used to have those shorts. Where's my browser? Let me see. Here it is. Let's go to YouTube. YouTube.com/ here we go. So I used to have these shorts here. That's the practice question shorts playlist with 50 and I realize you can't see me with 50 short questions, really in the shorts format, because what I wanted to do is I wanted to see if the new YouTube shorts format can be used for something else than cute cat pictures, if it can be used for something really helpful for people to learn. And what I've learned is it does. Many people, I got messages by many of you actually who were able to pass their certification exam, and these shorts were part of their studying, and that's really great. But the thing with these shorts is, in 1 minute, you can only do so much. What I cannot do is discuss scenario-based questions. And this is something that I would like to focus on in the future, scenario-based questions, where we can really discuss the thinking behind, not just which service is for what. That's important to know, but at some point you just know that. But still, in practice, especially if you don't just want to get certified, but you really want to work with AWS, you need to understand the thinking behind architecture, behind security, how to cost optimize, and all these things. All the 5 domains of the certification are things where you really need to think about scenarios, different situations. And this is something that I would like to focus on, just to make sure that you understand how to think in the cloud. And so once I'm back in September, I will start a study group on YouTube, a regular study group where everybody, no matter if you study for an exam or if you just want to learn about AWS or whatever, you can join. And together we'll find a way to make this useful for you, to create as much value as we possibly can for everybody who's on the call. So, all right, we've got a few things on the chat. Let me have a look. And I'll pull that over here. No, I could, but then you would see move on. That's like Inception, isn't it? Back there. Let me see. No. Okay, I'll put it over here. So we've got a few messages in the chat. Okay, again, to your question again. Okay, got it now. If I take the Pro, that one will extend the expiration date of the associate. Yes, it does. So I can turn off the screen sharing now. It does. So if you have the Professional Solutions Architect certificate, you automatically, it's implied that you also have the associate. So your associate will be extended, will automatically be extended. The same is valid if you have if you pass the DevOps Engineer Professional, both the developer and the SysOps, System Operations Admin, will also be extended. So yes, if you take the Pro, it will extend the associate. But to be honest, if you have the Pro, nobody will look if you have the associate, because if you have the Pro, you certainly should be able to pass the associate. So the Professional, it is really in depth, I can tell you. Yeah, okay, cool, good. What time is it? 15. It's almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon over here, Friday afternoon. Let's see. I've got the raffle running. I would say let's give people. I'll give you another minute to type !raffle on YouTube to join the raffle for your chance to win $25 in AWS credits. We've got a couple of entries here already, and cool, locust coding, that worked. You just showed up in my list, or did you? I'm not sure. Oh, Genlaw was it? Locust coding was it? Genlaw, Jordan Esports show. Cool. All right, that's cool. So everybody, please join the raffle. I've got $25 in AWS credits today, and I will raffle 2 of them. So 2 of you will have a chance to win. Are you ready? Everybody ready? Want to go? And I'm going to show you. Give me a second. I'll put it up here for everyone to see. So everybody's there. Metin is there. Metin, good to see you. Hey, nice to see you. Good to have you on the call. All right. So right here, we have all the entrants. Okay, Milad says, and that's really nice. I did, because I have been given enough credit as I'm AWS community builder. Therefore, it is fair if others win. That's really nice of you. And it's really nice of you to mention the community builders program. We have the, I don't know if you know the AWS community builders program. And I posted a video about that just recently. Let me see. Where is it? Where is it? Your channel. I posted a short video, just 1.5 minutes, explaining the community builders program. Oh, come on. It's a little bit slow. Here we go. All right. So I'll put the link here. If you want to join the AWS Community Builder program, that's a program where you get access to service teams at AWS, some mentorship, networking opportunities, and swag. A lot of swag and credits. Please apply. Applications are open until August 30th. So not very long. Please apply. There we go. And for the folks on LinkedIn, I'll put it up here. Cool. The raffle. Here we go. Here's my raffle. Can you see it? So we've got our entrance. We've got a lot of entrants. And I'm going to close the entries now. The entries are closed. And I'm going to remove that. And we can also remove this banner. That's just... So I'm going to pick 2 winners today. The first winner is going to be... Ta-da! AWS Geeks Tunisia. Congratulations. Congratulations to you. And the second one is Hemanand. Hemanand, you are the second winner. So we have 2 winners today. We have AWS Geeks Tunisia, and we have Hemanand Rajendran. I probably totally butchered your name. I'm sorry. Congratulations to both of you. Please reach out to me at, give me a second, I'll put it up here. Please reach out to me at this email address to let me know that you won, and I will send you the credits along with how you can redeem them for your AWS account. Congratulations. It was so much fun today for me. We had a number of, I'm sorry. We had a number of interesting topics today. I hope you learned a little bit. I certainly did. I'll be on vacation for a few days, for a few weeks. I will see you back again in September. All right? All right, cool. Thank you so much for joining the show. And let me see if I can find a nice... No, I don't have a nice... Oh, I've got a nice outro. Let me see. And please make sure, please, if you haven't already, please give me your feedback at bit.ly/feedback-Dennis. That would be awesome. Thank you so much for joining. I will see you next time. And now I'm gonna find this thing, the countdown. Goodbye. Take care. Goodbye. Okay, it was a short outro. It was shorter than I thought. So I'm here again, and now I'm really good. Goodbye. Take care.